I read online that you actually bought a burger with crypto once. How many Bitcoin do you spend on this burger?
I think it was roughly about 3.5 Bitcoin.
3.5 Bitcoin?
Yeah.
On a Big Mac?
There's another podcast out there at the moment, like Hock Tour Coin. I'm
Yeah.
sure you've heard about
Didn't
it.
that go up and then just drop like 99%?
Yes, yeah.
Was she involved?
You know, she was the face of the coin, but she didn't know the technical side of things.
Basically, car swap, from my understanding, it's like Tinder but for cars.
Correct.
What's some of the biggest challenges you face while building that app?
Apple and iOS have this power that they can shut down your app and then you have nothing.
So if I just have one car and I want to list it, does it cost me anything?
No, we're a freemium app. Freemium means like it's free, but
Yeah.
if you want a premium ad, you can pay for it as well. Similar to Tinder. Like, you know, I don't use Tinder much, but of course I've got to know how it works because my...
So do I. Part of my job.
Of course it is, yeah.
Nano Flashlights you recently exited for mid six figures.
Here it is. This is one of the nanos right here. It's super bright. The camera's probably not going to pick that up. This was my fourth company. Definitely. Oh, yeah. In the manuals it says don't point in people's eyes.
Oh, today we're here with the co-founder of CarSwap, the largest car trading app in the world. The co-founder of Sportal, creating scoreboards with LED screens, and recently exited from an e-com company you may know as Nano Flashlights, which is massive. Kane Ellis. Although your Instagram name is Kane CarSwap, so
Yeah,
I always
is,
just
it
think of
is.
you as Kane CarSwap.
But it's great to be here and yeah, a great introduction. Thank you so much.
Now, something that's not in the introduction, you actually love Bitcoin and crypto. And I read online that you actually bought a burger with crypto once.
I did a Big Mac meal actually. And,
Was it worth it?
Yeah. You know, like it was a delicious meal. Like, no one can deny a Big Mac's not a good meal. I basically what I did was it was a funny story. They used to have like back in those days, they used to have like this card, and they still do these cards, and it creates like. You put your crypto on this card and it converts the cryptocurrency to fiat currency, everyday currency. So I would use that card religiously, like every day, but not knowing that it was costing me, you know, like $500,000 here, $100,000 here, because right now, you know, Bitcoin is what, as we're doing this podcast, 95,000 American dollars.
So at the time when you brought the burger, how much was... Like, how many Bitcoin do you spend on this burger?
I think it was roughly about 3.5 Bitcoin.
3.5 Bitcoin?
Yeah.
On a Big Mac?
Which is what I was mining in a day. Sometimes, like, yeah, but between that $12 to like $16 range.
So today, how much would that 3.5 Bitcoin be worth?
Yeah, a lot of money. Yeah, definitely nearly close to $500,000 Australian. Yeah.
So was it worth it?
I still think so.
Okay.
You know, and,
yeah.
and
you know what?
You've probably seen online, you know, that guy for 10,000 Bitcoin, he got like 3 or 4 pizzas for his family. And he says the exact same thing. It was definitely worth it. You know, it got a lot of publicity today for that pizza, and same with my burger purchase. You know, got a lot of publicity, a lot of newspaper articles and such. So
good food and good PR.
Of course,
I love
definitely.
it. And how'd you even find a card that would like transfer Bitcoins to fiat currency?
So there used to be a lot of exchanges, not even exchanges. You could buy Bitcoin just with your fiat currency every day, and there used to be like a very grey line back in 2011 to 13 or even 14. Before Dogecoin existed, it used to be pretty easy to buy Bitcoin, but now you have to go through a know your customer, so like a KYC process.
Why is it more complicated?
Just because you know, the governments like to, you know, just make sure that it's being purchased for the right reasons, and you're not you know, avoiding any taxes and such. So it has to have that little bit of control. But also not being the exchanges don't want to, you know, get hacked, and also like, you know, they want to know their customers, who they are.
Can you still do it today? Still use this card to go from Bitcoin to...
Yeah, you definitely can. In fact, they use it like everyday credit cards where you've got tiers. So like crypto.com, for instance, they've got different tiers of cards. So the more you use it, the higher tier you go. So yeah, and a lot of banks are getting involved now with it as well. And you can still do that today, convert your crypto to fiat currency. There's a slight fee, obviously, for anything like that. But yeah.
It's so interesting. So, like, because the crypto, they're not based on... like the gold standard, because I know fiat currency used to be based on the gold standard, and now it's not.
Correct.
Is fiat currency similar to crypto in terms of it is what people think it's worth?
Yeah, it's very community driven, and it's very similar to like, you know, like even stocks, for instance. Let's just say, you know, for instance, Elon Musk. You know, when he did the when he was on Joe Rogan, and you remember how he smoked marijuana, his company went downhill.
Apparently, he had to get drug tested after that.
Oh wow, yeah, and the company did fall a bit, but he says he has no regrets. So I'm pretty sure he said that on a podcast. He's like, I don't have any regrets for it. But like something that is done in the community drives the price of the stock, of the market, of cryptocurrency. So yeah, and in these days, a lot of people like you and I are creating these cryptocurrencies with no principle behind the coin. We're just creating it just for the fun of it, and they go to billion-dollar valuations overnight. Some of them do.
But then they can lose billions as well?
Correct. Yes, correct. There's a lot out there, There's another podcast out there at the moment, like Hock Tour Coin. I'm sure you've heard about it.
Didn't that go up and then just drop like 99%?
Yes, yeah. And a lot of the co-founders, the guys that actually introduced
Was she involved?
the coin,
Surely.
Look, she was the face of the coin, but, she didn't know the technical side of things. But definitely when there was money involved, obviously you do get involved slightly. And we don't know the facts, but from what I've seen, some people have done investigations on it, and it's, it did get high, and a lot of the original founders or the co-founders of this coin had actually pulled out early stage within the first week of release. And I think within the first 24 hours, it went down something like 95%. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you put in like, $10, you're only, getting a little bit fraction back, But most people didn't put in $10. Most people were putting in there. A lot of people do the number one mistake is selling assets or putting their life savings into crypto. Only put what you can afford into cryptocurrency. That's what I recommend. What are you willing to lose? Put into cryptocurrency.
What got you into it? Because you were very early.
Yeah, very good question. I didn't get into so much the investing side of things. I was young. I was like 18, 19 at the time. And it was 2010. And what happened was my computer, I was building computers. I was a bit of a nerd. I was actually a gamer. And I had
What games?
Oh, back in those days, wow, I can't even remember. Maybe like, probably like Counter-Strike.
Okay.
And also like, I'm into a few other games as well, but, maybe COD and such. Maybe the first-person shooters. But I had a really good graphics card that runs the games, right? But I always spent like top of the line money on my graphic card because I did a lot of editing as well. So what I did was I did a lot of research, and I was actually looking at this these people like similar to Anonymous. I was just checking out their website. I wasn't definitely not planning on donating, but I seen they had a donations page, and I was like, how do they donate to someone like Anonymous? How do you do that anonymously?
Yeah.
Like, couldn't they track this? And I looked at it and it said Bitcoin. Like, they accept Bitcoin. I was like, what is this? 2010, very early. I clicked it, and it basically took me to, like, what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin.org. And it tells you what they do and, like, what Bitcoin is and such. And then I went more in depth in it, and I found out that you could make money with your computer. And at the time, I was doing something called SETI at home, which is the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. That means that my computer analyzes sound from outer space, and it goes, my graphic card computes it, and it tells, it converts it back to NASA or these large, corporations that are analyzing sound from outer space. My computer was doing that for free. I was doing that in my downtime using my energy to help for the search. Right. So I was doing something similar to what Bitcoin is now before Bitcoin. And then I was like, well, I might as well cancel this search for extraterrestrial intelligence and use it for Bitcoin mining. So I did exactly that. My graphic card was running 100% overnight, and I was earning, 3, 4, 5 Bitcoins a night, depending on the difficulty factor at the time. And then difficulty factors depending on how many people are mining at the current time. And when I got onto it, not many. So, I was earning 3, 4 Bitcoins a day. But yeah, that was about, $12, $13, $15 at the time. I got into it about $2 US.
$2 US a Bitcoin?
Yes, yeah,
Wow.
roughly. Yeah, a bit lower than that.
And is there, I know in stocks you have like a market cap. Is there a market cap of how many Bitcoins?
21 million Bitcoins will ever be mined. So basically, and that
How
in
many
our
are we
lifetime, I think we're at like 19, just above 19.
Oh, so there's still,
check that, but
what,
yeah.
3,000 to be mined?
Oh no, 3 million roughly, but we won't see the 21st millionth Bitcoin in our lifetime. We won't see that mined because the difficulty gets so high and so hard that people are earning 0.000001 of a Bitcoin per day now. Like very, very small amounts.
Why does it get harder?
Because think about the economy. Imagine if we did 21 million, it would be very similar to the gold rush. Gold would just keep going up, like extravagant amounts. So there's a limit. But what Satoshi Nakamoto did, that's the alias of the inventor of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That's who people know of him, of his name. But how he designed it is he wanted this economy or his cryptocurrency to last a lifetime, a long time. And I think there is definitely time tracks, so you can actually see when the 21st millionth Bitcoin will be mined. And I'm pretty sure it's in centuries from now, a century or so.
How can they even calculate how many people would be trying to mine it?
Because what they can do is they know exactly when a Bitcoin will drop and how much will be dropping. So you can calculate it. Yeah, it's all math-based, so you can calculate when the 21st millionth will be mined.
So who releases them?
So that's the blockchain technology. So everyone downloads a Bitcoin wallet. Satoshi Nakamoto released it in 2009. I can't remember the month, but he released a Bitcoin wallet. And everyone downloaded this on their computer and server. And then Bitcoin exchanges, they also download this wallet. And they use these wallets today. So these wallets are like servers. Think of them as like nodes. And there's like hundreds of millions of these nodes being run around the world. No one can change them. It is what it is. Those miners will always be the same. So that is, those nodes are everywhere and they can't be changed. So that's what it is. Yep.
Wow. Okay, so there's 21 million Bitcoin to ever be made.
Correct, yep.
And we've already found
roughly 19 million.
Roughly 19 million. And the last 3 million will take a long time to come out.
Yep.
So back then it was easier to mine because there was more movement, there was more to be mined?
Correct. When I got into it, now I don't know how many Bitcoin there were in circulation. I'll have to check some screenshots, but I would guesstimate between like that 10 million or less. So, I got into it really early. And at the time I didn't know it was early. I didn't know where it was going to go. You can even look at old Bitcoin forum posts on Bitcoin forums, and you'll see me in 2010 and 11 posting like, if this gets to $32, I'm going to sell out. Yeah, and I still remember it. Hit a $16 all-time high, and I sold majority of mine at $16, and then rebought back in at 30. And you see these common mistakes that I've done, but if you look at like the parabolic changes that Bitcoin has done, you'll see that it's a safe investment.
It's incredible. And then I've heard the blockchain technology too. It's a way of legitimizing different things. Like say this apartment, they could say Sam owns that and he owns it because of this blockchain adds up to that one. And
yeah, correct. NFTs kind of changed that whole realm of, ownership of product or like ownership of art form.
Yeah, because the NFTs, right? They use the blockchain to solidify that Kane actually owns that NFT and this belongs to him.
Correct. They're not as popular as much anymore. Like you probably don't hear about them as much, but they were popular. Early 2020 to 2023.
They were massive, roughly. Man. Like there was a huge wave of NFTs. Like people were spending millions. Why do you think it died off so fast?
There was, and even like some of the largest celebrities were buying. I'm sure you guys have heard of it, the Yacht Club. NFTs, and these ones like Justin Bieber were buying, like Leonardo DiCaprio, they were buying these art forms, but now they're selling
like the monkeys.
Yes,
dude,
correct.
They dropped so far.
Yeah, they were.
I think Timmy Trumpet brought one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, a lot of people did. And majority of the ones that were out. Now I don't know the supply of them. I didn't really follow them that much, but let's just say there was 10,000 of them. 10,000 of them. The cheapest one that was going was probably like $50,000 to $100,000 back in the day. But now you could probably pick up one for $10,000 Like I haven't really been following it at all. I didn't get into NFTs much. We had this discussion the other day actually. I think I only purchased a couple of NFTs.
Yep.
And I never really made profit on them. I wasn't really lucky in that realm.
The technology behind the NFTs, the blockchain legitimifying of who owns what. Do you see that as a big business and something you'd get more involved in, or is that quite separate from what you're doing these days?
I think it is quite separate. Yeah. Like, a lot of people think blockchain technology is the future, and I agree with them to a degree, but running a business and my business is a B2B, and I don't really see them really benefiting from blockchain technology. Like back in the day, I was thinking for CarSwap, for the trading platform, I was thinking this was early days, we would create a coin. Before there was all these rug pull coins and everything like that, and you could use these coins within CarSwap to buy and sell cars, but we didn't end up doing it. I'm glad we didn't, because you look at how many coins have come into fruition and died. 99.9% of them fail. Yeah, And even when I first started, like, Litecoin was the silver. Bitcoin was the gold. Litecoin was the silver.
And now it's Ethereum, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Litecoin is in like the top 10 still, I believe, top 10 or top 20, but it's really fallen off. It should have stayed the silver. I don't think Bitcoin will ever drop off. Because Satoshi Nakamoto, the CEO, the director, has gone MIA, so that's really made the coin kind of really the gold standard.
It's insane.
And being the first.
And it's basically valued on speculation in
Correct.
terms of it's only worth what people are willing to pay for it.
Correct. And like a lot of whales buy in as well. So like if someone wanted to buy $100 million worth of Bitcoin, that definitely raises the price somewhat. So yeah, yep.
But these days you're more into CarSwap, Sportal.
Yes, yeah. Businesses, creating businesses and such, and creating more so value as well, because people really wanted to, when you go to sell your car, you shouldn't really have to pay money for it, like especially a user, like a user like you and I. Of course, dealerships, they've got overheads and such, and, they're running a business. So that's where we make our money from CarSwap, is with the dealership realm. And we're a fraction of the price of the competitors too. So we also help the dealerships out. So we're not only helping users get into their new car and sell a car, we're also helping the dealerships sell cars at a much cheaper rate.
Yeah, so let's peel that back a bit. So basically CarSwap, from my understanding, it's like Tinder but for cars.
Correct.
You can go through, see what's available, swap your car, maybe even swap it if it's worth more, pay a little bit more cash for theirs if their car's worth more.
Correct.
So, and you're saying the dealership actually pays you to promote their cars?
Correct, because like a dealership normally hops on something called a dealer management software, where they've got, let's just say they've got 100 cars on the lot. They don't want to have to independently put them on eBay, on Gumtree, on CarSwap, on Facebook Marketplace. They want to be able to put it on one spot and then distribute to all of them. And we connect directly to their DMS, and then we charge them for how many cars they've got and how many leads they get. That's what our competitors do, but some of our competitors charge hundreds of dollars just for a phone call. Let's say, Sam, you own a dealership and you've got 100 cars, and you get 100 phone calls, and some of them are just useless. Like, oh, does that car come in red? Do you have that car for a formal I can use this week? That kind of stuff. And they do get these calls. That's cost them $100 per phone call from our competitors. So we came into the this whole dealership realm pretty new, and we learnt pretty fast that there's not so much competition here in Australia. So that's why we wanted to shine and really, make a market dent, and also help the dealerships and users at the same time create value.
So if I just have one car and I want to list it, does it cost me anything?
No, nothing. We're a freemium app. We're a freemium app, meaning freemium means like it's free, but if you want a premium ad, you can pay for it as well. If you want to, like similar to Tinder, like, I don't use Tinder much, but of course I've got to know how it works because
So do I. It's part of my job.
Of course it is. Yeah, there we go. But like on Tinder, you can pay a premium to like shine, like be in front of people more. And we do that. So you can have like, instead of 10 photos, you can have 25. And you'll get more swipes across your car. So basically, if you list a car, you can directly trade people's cars. Let's just say Sam's got a Ford and it's worth $20,000, and Kane's got a Commodore that's worth $20,000. We can do a direct swap. Let's say mine's $10,000 more. When we go to swap, it will say, "Hey Sam, Kane's Commodore is $10,000 more. How much money would you like to put on this?" And it has to hit a reserve. So that's how we help. And the dealerships is the exact same. If Sam's got a $20,000 Ford and the dealership's got a $60,000 Ford and you want to upgrade, you swipe on the dealership car and it's going to say, "Hey, this is $40,000 more. How much cash would you like?" And it goes to the dealership as a lead. They get you in the door and you upgrade your car, because dealerships make a lot of money on trade-ins. They really like the trade-ins because they're getting a car off the lot, and then they have to go get another car for the lot. But if you're doing it on a trade-in, they make money off of you with the trade-in, then they sell it for more. There's a lot of middlemaning there, and they like that. And that's how they make their money. That's how they run their business. So that's only fair.
There's a lot of technology behind that.
Yes.
Did you write that? Where'd you come up with the idea for that?
We've got an amazing team at CarSwap. I would be selfish to say it was all me. It definitely wasn't. I've got another co-founder, Cyrus Rafizadeh. He's amazing. He's got a lot of tech background as well, because that's mainly our backgrounds is technology. But we've got an amazing team. So we've got a team of developers. We've got, our CTO is located here, our technical officer. Yeah, so our team is widespread and we've all got different skill sets. I'm not so much of a programmer. I definitely know it. I can overlook it, but definitely wouldn't say I'll be writing the code. You know, I don't write these apps. I create the apps and I help them, but definitely don't do the background.
What's some of the biggest challenges you face while building that app and the softwares behind it?
You know, like there's a lot. iOS, specifically Apple, are very strict. One crash in the app that a user's having can literally take your app off the App Store.
Really?
Meaning that we could stop making money overnight just because of one user crash. So it's very scary. Android aren't so, I mean, obviously they definitely care, but it's not as stringent. So like, you know, we can get away with like a crash here and there. But, you know, we have these failures. Like, and it's scary that Apple and iOS have this power that they can shut down your app and then you have nothing. So that's where it gets very scary. Yeah. So there's been a lot of challenges along the way, but one of them is, you know, definitely creating an app that's not going to crash.
Doesn't crash.
Yeah.
And why doesn't app crash?
There's a lot of different syntaxes that it will make, like that will actually occur, or variables, I should say. You know, it could be something in the back end, the framework, something in the SQL database that's not matching, and it can literally just crash the back end. So the front end might work, like you might see everything, but as soon as you start trading, it will just error. You know, this was very early on stages. Right now, it's very stable. I'd like to say that.
Yeah.
Touch wood. But you know, you just have to do a thorough test. I still remember, like, you know, and I still do it to this day, when a new update comes out, especially a big GUI, graphical user interface update, what we do is we thoroughly test it with like all of our colleagues, and we'll say like test everything, and we'll give people segments. So we'll say you test the swiping, you test the matching, you test the text chat between the users, like we'll just test everything, A to Z. And sometimes it can crash and we'll have to go back, do it all again. And we've done that sometimes 5 times before we've got it perfect.
Wow. So when Apple comes out with an update, you have to then go and check
We have to cater
your
for
app
it.
still runs
Correct.
properly.
It could be in the wrong aspect. When they came out with the Pro Maxes, I think in the 14s or the 13s, I can't remember when they did come out, or it might even be the 12s, but the aspect ratio changed and like many different things changed. There was borders. It would just crash randomly on the Pro Maxes, this, that. It could be anything. Yeah. They come out with a new processor, like the A7X or whatever they're up to these days. Yeah.
Do they give it to you early then so you can run these checks? Or do you just like wake up one day, there's new software and your app like
I
maybe starts to glitch?
wish. No, it normally works. I have to do the same as everyone else. I have to wait in the Telstra and Optus lines and wait for the new phone. And I'm a bit like I'm a tech geek, so I do like the latest technology. So I always make sure my iPhone is the latest. But I have a reason for it. It's because I really like to have the latest because
I feel
technology changes.
I'm the same. Like when the new phone come out and it films like 4K slow mo, because I
That's your
filmed
job.
so many diving videos. Like I had to get it. Like nearly just for that one upgrade.
Correct.
I thought I'm just gonna get it because I need it. I need it for work.
And in the e-com space, getting back to the e-com space, like I used my phone for photography. I had some people I had some friends that were really good with DSLR and, you know, the expensive cameras, but it takes time to get them sometimes, and, you know, and obviously it costs. So, but sometimes I would just do photos from my phone and the macro shots were like perfect. And I was like,
they're so good.
Exactly. I was like, so I just love it. And the videos, I would literally get like, because my ecom business was a flashlight business, I would just get the flashlight and then the phone behind it and absolutely love it. Here it is. This is one of the Nanos right here. And
That's the newest one, eh?
yeah, this is the newest one. So this is the Nano D, and it's super bright. The camera's probably not going to pick that up.
Because this flashlight company,
Yep.
so Nano Flashlights, you recently exited for mid 6 figures.
Yes.
E-commerce company.
It was only it was one of my. Well, you've read out all the companies that I own. This was my 4th company that I was running at the time.
A fairly new startup.
Yeah, it is. And I sold it because I wasn't putting as much time and effort into it. And it does take a lot of time and effort. Nothing like people expect these companies to be like billion-dollar ideas or companies overnight, and it just takes a lot of time and effort.
I've seen you working on this for years. Like just after the Olympics, and I come and stay with you, you were like researching different products, different batteries, different casings.
Correct.
Like you were saying, this was not working properly, so you're doing that,
Correct.
finding new ideas.
Majority of the engineering between me and the manufacturer was myself, and as we were discussing last night, there was a lot of, you know, I have manufacturing flaws. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't, and some of the largest companies in the world have them as well. But yeah, I had this company for, you know, just under 3 years, and exited, as you said, mid 6 figures, and I was very happy with it. And it was my 4th side hustle. But it just didn't have the time. I didn't have the time to put it into it. You know what I mean? Like, and I could see the effort wasn't there. And I sold it to a team which have got an amazing amount of experience, and also they've got the time and effort that they want to put into it.
Can I leave this one? Because
of course.
You've given me so many over the years.
Yep.
And this is the newest. Like, my one's just like the single tube with a light
correct.
in the end.
It's a lot smaller. So
it's brilliant. Like, it's just so fun to go outside at night and just like light things up.
Definitely.
It's getting flashbangs.
Yeah, exactly. I wrote the manuals for them, and in the manuals it says don't point in people's eyes.
Oh.
Or animals' eyes.
Okay. I haven't read the manual.
It's fine. No, I just can't see you right now. But no, it's been an amazing company, and like I've learned a lot, and I learned like a lot of different things. Like I said before, all my companies are B2B. That one was B2C, so business to customer.
Yeah.
So that was really a challenge because I've never really done that before, and I've never done Meta ads. I've never done Google ads.
So when you started it, what did you know and what did you have to learn?
I knew a lot about how to create a business and how to manage. I would be lying if I said I knew how to manage the inventory, but I like to think that I had a rough idea. I ordered, I think, about 1,000 flashlights first up before I had any customers. And I still remember my father, he told me, like, he's seen the boxes and he was like, do you reckon you're going to sell all these? It didn't even cross my mind, am I going to sell them? But at that time, I had a bit of an epiphany and I was like, I wonder if he's right. I wonder if I'm going to sell them. But it was just that I never had that doubt. And that's the biggest thing is like risk averse. Like being risk averse is sometimes a good thing, but I didn't even think about it. I was like, I'm going to sell them.
Yeah.
100%. I reckon I'm going to sell these in the first week. And I reckon in the first week, I already had to do another order. So I was very lucky.
I was so impressed by them. Like I remember just you giving me a few and using them outside, and it wasn't like some gimmick crappy, plastic product. Like I took it outside and it worked effectively. Like Correct. It was strong. It was nice. Like I felt like when I even just held it, I said, these are going to be good.
Well, there was a reason that I had over like 400 5-star reviews for these. And that was only in 3 years, 400. And that was just like Google. I'm pretty sure like Google. So, and there's a reason that my average order value, I'll go through a bit of the stats. My average order value was like $88 over the 12 months. Over the 3 years, it's probably like $75, which is massive for something that's like, those started at $25. So where is the average order value coming from? It's because people are buying 3, 4, 5. They're coming back. My return customer rate was 35 to 38%. So a lot of people were buying one and they're like, I need to buy one for my car, for my office, for my mum, for my dad.
I have 5.
There you go. And that's not enough. You need more.
I do.
That's the plug. That's the sales plug. No, but honestly, I kept getting customers coming back and the appreciation. Oh, you should add this. You should add that. Magnets at the rear. I added the magnets at the rear. You should make it like, have UV in it. I added the UV, these kind of things. Someone said you should put a laser pointer in there. And I looked up laser pointers and I was like, it's kind of illegal, but under a certain milliwatt, it's legal. So I was like, I could just stick under that. Made it with the manufacturer. These kind of things. So yeah, no, they done very well and it was such a winning product. So, but again, just the effort and time that it took. And I seen the other companies that I've got that were scaling hard. So I decided to concentrate on those. Hence why I sold it. But it was also a really good experience transitioning the whole company.
Because being able to package up and sell a company is such a unique skill.
Super hard.
You wouldn't even hear about very often.
Super hard. Like I had an M&A expert help me
merger and
acquisitions.
acquisitions.
Yes, sorry, yep. And but at the same time, I had to do it a lot of it myself, and it was hard. Like even the new owners, the new team that took on board, like they had to spend a lot of time with me on different things.
Can you give me an example? Like
sure,
you sold the company.
Yeah.
What kind of paperwork, documentation? Because it's not as simple as just, hey, here's my Instagram login. Correct. And here's my 6-figure pay.
Correct. For instance, for like Meta ads, like even just transferring over the Meta ads and all the credit card information and such, because all the credit cards were linked to my business account, right? Yeah. And I'm not transferring over my business credit cards and that, that goes obviously to the new owner and they do their own. So like transferring all of that and doing it the right way, because and I'm sure every e-com guy knows this, and anyone who's watching that owns a store, as soon as you take credit cards off of Facebook or Meta, they get really worried. They're like, oh, and they'll restrict. They'll like even put a strike against your name. So you got to do it very slowly. Like I was spending roughly, which is also very cheap. Like a lot of people are going to be like, that's very expensive. But I was normally spending about an average of about 1,000 a day on ads, which is a lot of money. But in the grand scheme of things, like my friend Davey Fogarty, I think he was spending, close to like $1 million a month. So, and he's probably spending more.
He did over 800 million in revs.
I think he's done over 850 or 800 million in his total sales. Yeah, yeah.
Revs. Wow.
So, which is crazy to think. And I have utmost respect for the guy. He used to have, like his showroom or office used to be close to mine, and we met a couple of times, and good friends. So, but he's doing amazing things, and he helped me originally with my Meta ads. So
really,
really exciting, and that's like the art form. Having like,
is that the hardest part?
Meta ads.
Really?
Meta ads.
What about engineering the product?
That's the easy part.
You reckon?
For me. Yeah,
wow.
yeah. Without sounding cocky, but that was really easy because my manufacturer knew how to do it. If I had to do A to Z and the language barrier was really bad, that would have been a lot harder.
How'd you find a good manufacturer? Because I've worked with the Chinese a lot.
Yeah.
And I've worked with creating products, and it can be so tedious. And even the smallest things like upside down prints, things that are just so simple. Sometimes something comes back wrong you wouldn't have even thought could go wrong, but because you didn't specify. Like,
I think I have about 8 manufacturers. I used to have one that created the box, the instruction manual, all the paper bat. You remember?
Well, I've had the same thing before where the box manufacturer had to ship it to the product packer who would then put it all together. Then they've got to 3PL it back here.
Correct. But I eventually... You get more efficient with time, right? So obviously over the 3 years, I got very efficient. I think in the first year and a half, I nailed it down to 2 manufacturers. And after the first year, I gave up on a whole torch flashlight manufacturer that was overcharging me, that didn't really care about me. The product wasn't as good quality, this kind of stuff. So, and I actually saved money doing that. I went to a new manufacturer. But working with overseas manufacturers is amazing. I really enjoy it. It's completely different. Obviously, I want to keep it on shore, but I'm trying to run a business, and like a lot of the time, I would get charged like to build a flashlight here in Australia, probably $20 to $30. Yep. How am I going to sell that? The consumer's then getting ripped off. They're going to be paying $60, $70, $80 for a flashlight, and it's not fair. So that's why I decided to do it over. I'm mainly in Pakistan, China.
Yeah. And how'd you find them? Because
was
it trial and error?
I get a lot of people asking me this, and it's good that you asked this on a podcast. But there's a directory called Alibaba. I'm sure you've heard of it.
I've used it many times.
That's a manufacturer's directory.
Yeah.
You don't do that to buy single products. If you want to buy a single product,
but even that, you've got good and bad manufacturers on there. Good and bad English, good and bad communication skills.
Do you know what I want to do? I really wanted to. When I started looking for my my manufacturer, you always sort by stars. Like how many have they sold. Then I test them again. I'll message them, see how fast they reply. If they're hours, I'm sorry, you've lost my interest. Normally, a lot of the time, I know that sounds really brutal, but business is cutthroat like that.
Yeah.
I love to get fast replies. Someone should be on there, like, you're not 24/7, but Chinese time or overseas time is somewhat similar to ours. They should be online. And I don't expect them to answer if it's an abnormal time. However, fast replies back to me, willing to work with me and understanding my vision. Because a lot of the time you do have to kind of flex, so to speak. You have to be like, look, I plan on selling 50,000 flashlights a year. I plan on doing this. I plan on doing this. Here's my evidence. This is what I've done previously. This is who I am. And then they understand and they will make everything work for you how you see it.
Did you communicate mostly over Alibaba, or did you give these guys calls over the phone? Was it email? What was your main form of communication?
Alibaba initially to see if they passed my tests.
Yep.
And likewise to them. They want to know that you're legit and not a bot or anything like that. So when we pass those tests, I used something called WeChat and WeChat to Discord to phone calls and like sometimes the language barrier wasn't there for some of my manufacturers. This manufacturer understands me very well. We can have business calls. They invited me to their factory many times, this kind of stuff.
Did you go over?
I know, I haven't got over.
Okay.
They invited me, but that's like a good sign. That means they want you there. They want you as a good client. But no, I really wanted to. But at the time, you got to understand, when I created this company, I think it was 2021, late 2021 or mid. And that's when just COVID finished. So to go over there, you needed blood tests, over to China. And it was a 30-day wait. And I was like, look,
not worth
30 days, that's a long time. So, but the last year or two, I just didn't get the time to go on over, unfortunately.
And the ones that you were selling, were they off the shelf from the manufacturer, or did you have to engineer them and change them?
Definitely change them.
How did that work?
A lot of the shells, some of the shells for Nano existed. I did change quite a lot of the shells. And then like the PCB inside was very similar.
What is the PCB?
Oh, so PCB is like the motherboard.
Oh, okay,
the
cool.
thing that
Like
the
the computer
circuitry.
chip?
Yep, correct. Okay. Yeah, the circuitry and different volts. So I would change the volts. Volts is hard because without getting too technical on the engineering side of things, when you put volts onto it, it creates heat, and when you go smaller, it gets hotter. So like you don't want these things getting really hot. So that was the hard part, creating just the right amount of energy to the actual from the battery to the actual diode, and not making the stainless steel lens overheat. And that's where I made aluminium models, and that aluminium model was fully designed by me. So that that gold aluminium model.
That's my favorite, actually. That's my favorite one.
Everyone's favorite. And I was like, that was
because it just feels classy.
Correct, and that's why people like it. They like the feel of non-plastic, the aluminium, and also it disperses heat better. So it's like overall just a better product because aluminium is just a better heat disperser.
And do they charge you to set up the manufacturing process for that? Because I know if you change
the plating
products, they've got to do new printing and that. And did they charge you for that setup?
Yeah, and that one was quite expensive. The stainless steel had to be anodized like 3 times. Anodization is like how the actual flashlight, how it looks, and also how anodization is also like if it scratches easily as well.
Yep.
The original prototype that they sent to me was just anodized once. And I don't want to get too technical because there's different types of like numbers.
And these things you had to learn?
Yes. The anodization was pretty new to me. I got it and it started scratching. I was like, what's going on here? And then
how did you even know to ask about that?
Because I could see it. My manufacturer was pretty cluey. They were like, oh, yeah, that's happening because like our engineer has said that the anodization is too thin. But if we were to go higher in anodization, this is how much it's going to cost. So I had to make the decision because obviously I have to pass that cost on to someone.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do the consumer, but what do you do? Like, so I just wanted to make it.
They would probably appreciate a better product anyway.
100%. If they get a flashlight that scratches, like just by putting the keychain on the back and it scratches, they're going to be like, this product's not good.
Especially given it is like a rugged product.
Correct.
It needs to be strong.
Correct. So that was my whole...
was that an upfront cost or was that a per unit cost?
Per unit, yeah. And the more I ordered, the cheaper it got. So, so the more customers you get, the better it is. So... And it's really, I'm really annoyed because I'm looking in the back, your back shelves right now, and I see all these plaques and like such.
Yeah.
And Shopify, and I'm sure some of the viewers here have even got one. At I think your 10,000th, well, I can't even speak right now, 10,000th customer.
Yeah.
When you get that, you get a plaque from Shopify.
Do you have one?
I missed out. Because what happened was I obviously got a more than that. I just got under 100,000, but I got more than 10,000. And I looked at it, and apparently it was in 2022 they started doing it, and I got my 10,000th in like 2021, early 2022. No. I just missed out.
I love the good plaques.
I know.
I got a YouTube one.
Yeah.
Got a TikTok one.
I know. I took a photo with your gold one, and you've got one coming up soon, haven't you?
I want the diamond. Yeah.
Is that 10 million?
That's 10 mil. Yeah.
You're not far off.
I'm chipping away.
You're at 5.
That's my goal. 5'8", 5'9".
Oh,
yeah.
It's a bit of a flex. That's a bit of a flex.
It's insane though, because you're always learning, but you're always just doing your thing. Like you see the numbers go up, and you feel good about it, but you don't really.
You don't appreciate it sometimes.
Like it's not tangible.
When I went to my total number of customers or orders, I was really surprised. Yeah, and that's how I learnt about that Shopify, that 10,000th award. I was like, I really wanted that.
Because people at home will love this. Can you do a full demonstration of how this flashlight works?
Yeah, of course.
Now, this is a flashlight from Kane's Nano Flashlight Company.
Definitely.
You just exited the business?
Yeah, exactly. So on the back, you've got your USB-C charging cable.
Yep.
So it might be hard to see, but yeah, on here, you've got your USB-C charging cable. And then in there, that charges the lithium battery inside. This one's, I believe, a 1,000 1,000 milliamp battery. And then basically, if you just double tap the power on the front, I'll just need to be able to see it, but 1, 2, it will literally come on, and you can single tap through the different modes. So I've got like, this is ultra. This is 1,200 lumens. In a room that we're in now, it's hard to see it, but at nighttime, it's very easy to see this. Like, it brightens up fields. People in camping love it. This model is transparent. So this model has something what we call a side light. And this is UV, as you're seeing now. It's very hard to see, blue light, but all the whites stick out. Yep. Very low. You can use it on American dollar and, well, even just Australian dollars. You can see, like, small things like fingerprints and stuff.
Yeah.
And then if you keep scrolling across, you've got red flashing, you've got red, you've got white. So you can use it camping. You can use it for everything. You can even use it as a lantern. Wow. It's got a strong magnet on the rear as well. And
it's even got a whistle?
And it's also a keychain. It does. So if I hold this down... Yeah. So, no, very cool product. I'm very happy with it. But this is the newest model, but all the older models, this isn't even the best selling. The best selling are the older models. And the one that you have, the Aluminium T Pro, that's one of the most popular.
Dude, it's so cool, and congratulations once again on building your company and exiting it. Like, not many people
that was a big achievement for me, and I really always wanted to do that, to learn the process. And I'm lucky I learned it at a smaller scale, because at the larger scale, when you've got a big team, I'm the sole owner of Nano Flashlights. I answered to myself. I didn't really have a board, investors, this and that, so I could make all the decisions, and I did all the paperwork myself. It was pretty easy. Still very hard to transition the company, but at a larger scale, you've got teams, board members, you have to fill out ASIC information, all the documents. I mean, I still had to do that for Nano, but at a smaller scale, it's a lot easier.
Well, I believe Suncorp acquired, was it ANZ or the other way around?
ANZ
acquired Suncorp.
Yeah, which is an underwriter, and that would have been a big acquisition.
Can you imagine just doing the paperwork?
A very big acquisition.
Can you imagine doing the paperwork?
Definitely. Even just like acquiring Twitter, like Elon Musk, that would have been hard.
Because you just think, you pay the money and it's done, but you would understand a slither or what that back end
definitely
would look like.
No, 100%. It's like I said, at the larger scale, it would be definitely hard, and I would need a team to help me. I still had to consult lawyers and stuff, and they helped me. Even with the contracts and the asset transfer list and such. And the asset transfer list was probably like 4 or 5 pages long. What I had to transfer, because a lot of people are like, it's just your Shopify account and a few other things. It's like, no. I have like servers. I had like 4 servers, conversion servers, this, that. Yeah. Meta alone was like 3 accounts, and I had to untag it from my personal. Just all these different things.
But all worth it.
Yeah, exactly right. And Meta are great, but sometimes can be a bit slow. Yeah. But no, they're great. I enjoy them.
What's some quick tips you'd have for someone to build and exit the company?
This is hard, because when I started Nano Flashlights, my intention wasn't to sell it. And I don't want to give the wrong tips, because like I said at the start of the podcast, a lot of people run into these businesses and they want to sell them overnight. It's not that easy. My M&A guy, we were looking at every platform to sell the company, and there was one called Flipper, and you can see on Flipper, if you were to go onto it now, you'll see companies that are like only a couple of days old, and they're trying to sell their company, and it's like,
wow,
yeah,
really,
exactly,
couple of days,
yeah, because they've created so many e-commerce stores that they're so confident that it's going to sell, and they do sell sometimes, but people really have got to get out of that mindset to get rich quick. This took a lot of time, a lot of effort. You were there, Sam. You've seen it, like the birth of it, how much work I did behind it, and that was my 4th company. So it's like, people have got to understand you've got to work for what you've got. So the exiting, you shouldn't start a company with the plan on exiting.
Yeah, because I've heard the opposite. Like, you should always start with your exit plan in mind. But I suppose, I don't know, a lot of people
could work for some people. I guess it's just how I've worked. And I guess it is opinionative. Like, that definitely, for in a different realm or a different business, for sure. For instance, I went into, with CarSwap, we went into that thinking we were going to get acquired, because our competitors were so large, and we don't have many competitors. There's only really one guy. And we thought we were going to get acquired by them, but we were very wrong. These people don't even think about acquiring you until you really affect their market share that much, they're going to run out of business. You can chip away at them, 5% here, 10% here, and it hurts them. But No, I really think you should think about putting not all passion into your business, but really go into it with a mindset of like, how am I going to create value? Not so much how am I going to get out of this rich?
Yeah, because that's something you said before. You liked the flashlights because you're creating a product, you're creating value.
Correct. Yeah.
That's important to
People have
you?
experiences with my flashlights. Like, just do yourself a favor, go onto my Google reviews and check them, and you'll see, or just any reviews. It doesn't even have to be Google reviews, but you'll see people like, my mum's got one, my mum's husband's got one. We love it every day for camping. I've got one in the car. I've got one
Even just like
attached
when
here.
you get out of your car, you can flash them around. You're like,
Definitely, definitely. And I've always had a fascination for lights. We were talking about this yesterday. On my old car, I had 100,000 raw lumens on the front
That's
of my
right. I got flash banged every time I saw
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. And we're very lucky here in Australia because like they're kind of legal, like because we have so much outback, and you need to be able to see.
Yeah, you
when
do.
I enabled my lights on that car, I seen kangaroos from miles out.
All
So,
for safety.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
Only safety, not for
that's
the
it.
zombie apocalypse. No, so definitely, yeah, that was my vision. That was my passion for the product.
Now, the LEDs actually flow into your other business, Sportal,
Yeah,
which is
correct.
creating LED screens for sporting fields.
Correct. The founder of that, technically the founder, he's Darius Rafizadeh. He's
Yep.
both my business partners are brothers. So Cyrus for CarSwap and Darius for Sportal.
Who'd you meet first? Was it Cyrus on your car trip?
Yes, Cyrus on the CarSwap trip actually, Bull Rush Rally. That was from Adelaide to Sydney in 2000. I want to say 2015 or 16. And that's how we inevitably thought of CarSwap, that idea, because we temporarily swapped on that trip. And I think I even got to drive a GTR 35, and I traded temporarily my C63 AMG at the time, a Mercedes, for that car temporarily. So we had some good fun. But yeah, no, Sportal, good transition, good segue into that because, those are LED screens. The ones that when you go to a sporting complex, Olympic Park here have got one.
Oh, we got tons, yeah. Just
correct.
any basically billboard that's
Correct. Yep.
LEDs.
Billboard,
It's
screen.
so much better because you don't have to tear stuff
definitely.
down. It's more sustainable.
Correct.
You can put more sponsors on it. Like, say you had only a meter by a meter,
Yeah.
and you could only have one sponsor. But
Yeah.
with these screens, you can have like 6, 7, 8. Like,
Definitely. And the difference with this is the Sportal team, it's all done in-house. Our developer is our founder, Darius Rafizadeh, and he is the one that has got he's put his brain behind the programming side.
if he was the founder, how did you become co-founder or get equity in the company?
Sure. So just working with him since day one, and then obviously we come to some agreement, and obviously I'm bringing, again, I hate to use the word constantly, but value.
Yeah,
Like sales
So
wise.
sweat equity?
Yes, correct.
Or did
yes,
you buy
yeah.
in?
No,
Sweat equity.
So equity as we're getting sales
Yep.
and such, and over time and such. So and he wanted that title co-founder of myself, which I'm very
Good on you.
yeah. So
Yeah.
but obviously helping him since day one, it's been so great. We've done. If you go to sportal.gg, that is our website.
Which is a good game.
Yeah, GG stands for good game. So and we are a sport entity, so it works perfectly. But you can see all our our LEDs, and what we do is we create the A to Z. So we do the whole pylon. We do the LED screens. We manufacture them. They get manufactured in China, but we spec them. And then we do everything, all the software. And I think we're the only ones in Australia that are doing the hardware and the software combined. And it's all controlled via an app. Sportal, our referees are using the app. Our scorers, app. All the spectators are using the app. You can see the live stream and the scores all from our app.
Wow. So, wait, there's a lot of IP tied up in that.
Correct.
Like, you may just think screen turned on, good to go. Can you peel that back for me and just tell me what have you built into this? What technology is behind this screen that lights up?
Definitely. I think between the company, we've got about 10 patents, 10 or more.
Talk me through 'em.
And we're licensing other patents through our sister companies. So our sister companies, the ones that manufacture the LED screens, they've got patents behind them. And we're sharing some of CarSwap's patents as well. We're all within arm's reach of each other, almost like a triangle. And we share patents. So we license each other's patents. And some of the patents are really basic. Some of them are more advanced. I won't go through all of them with you because it does kind of get boring. But you can look them up online. They're actually on our website, sportal.gg. They're right there in front of your face, the patent numbers. And some of them are pending. But some of the technology is amazing. Right now, I could mic you up, get my iPhone out, open the Sportal app, create a live stream, and you can be on the Olympic... the Olympic screen that they've got next door, and it's like all done via our phone. We've done many, like all through Perth. We've done like the Waffle and Sandful, which is the South Australian Football League down in South Australia. We're getting involved with the AFL. We've done Home of the Matildas in Melbourne Park there. Yeah, so we've done quite a bit. Yeah.
Why
in
sporting
2.5
fields?
years as well.
Yeah, it's
that's
insane,
still
man.
a new company. So yeah.
Why sport? These billboards could
Yep.
be used anywhere, any field, like
Correct.
all over the place. Why sporting fields?
So sport is again, Darius loves sport, and
Yeah.
so do I. That's why we kind of got into it. We all do an array of sport. He's tried it all, and I've tried it
Because you're
all.
very athletic. Like Kane can flip. He does a lot on the tramp. Like
Thank you.
we have
I'm
a lot more
blushing.
in common than what you'd realize.
Definitely.
Like,
Last night, just so all the viewers are on the same page, last night at the gym, we were doing competitions. We didn't want to. It's a very small gym. And I was like, hey, Sam, can you do this? And he's like, I can do better.
I can do that better.
And then I was like, okay, I'll do something even better. And we were like almost doing flips in the gym. This is a standard.
And I'm
like-
injured. I'm not meant to be doing anything.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, no, we weren't doing flips at all. We were just doing generic weightlifting,
That's
free
it.
weights. But
Thank
no,
you.
so yeah, very competitive nature. I still remember when we went to, do you remember when we went to the trampoline park in SA?
That's
And
right,
Sam
that's
was
right.
like, Kane's good. He can do flips. And then we started getting
Where'd you even
competitive.
learn that?
I used to do all their software. So I used to do like Bounce, the company, who are Australia wide. I
Yeah.
used to do their software development and help a lot with the owner. And it came in SA in South Australia in 2014. So I was there early on, and I've always had a fascination for trampolining. So, and I used to go on YouTube, watch
Such a side
trampoliners.
quest too.
Yeah,
Like
of
building
course.
LED companies.
It wasn't so
And
much
it's like,
trampolining.
I love
it was
tramping.
it was like flipping. I got
Yeah.
obsessed with like flips and stuff, and I never really could do them on the ground. I've had a lot of friends who could do them on the ground, but it used to just sketch me out. As you probably seen on the cliff jumps the other day, you wanted me to do a few different
I did.
things.
I did.
And I just didn't have the mentality for it. And I think I'm just scared because I've done a few injuries here and there, and I do a lot of like adrenaline seeking stuff. Like I've jumped out of planes. I do not aerial skiing, but I do a lot of skiing, and I include jumps and backflips and that. And I've done a lot of injuries through that. So it just comes with the game. You know how it is.
I do. I certainly do.
Yeah. So
It's
that's how
very
we
tough.
kind of got into the sporting realm.
Yep.
But you're right. We can transfer this to anything, and we have been doing that. We
Yeah,
have
you
been
plan to
helping.
expand?
My other company, Nerd Herd, I've been helping out gyms, hospitality industry, anyone, retail.
So what is Nerd Herd?
Nerd Herd, I started when I was really young. I started fixing family. As I said to you when I was younger, I used to be a bit of a nerd, bit of a geek. And what I did was I started fixing family and friends' computers. And at the age of 18, I could create like an ABN. A sole trader ABN, and I did that. And then I started working under that ABN with schools, and I started working with like insurance builders and companies and such. And that's when I started building the technology foundation of where I am today. And that's where I kind of learned how to really be hands-on with computers. And that's when I started building Bitcoin miners, and I really started getting into Bitcoin miners really early on. 2010,
Yep.
That's when I was doing Bitcoin mining. And I started getting into ASIC chips, which is like, again, without getting too in depth, it's like application specific integrated circuits,
Yep.
which is like just good for one thing, and that's just for Bitcoin mining.
So the Nerd Herd, what does it do?
Yeah, so what did we do? We did mainly consulting, tech consulting. So I would go into a company and they would be like, hey, internet's really slow, our phone lines are congested, our mailbox server's full, we want cameras, this kind of thing. And I would come in and be like, I can do all 4 of those things for this price. Go ahead and do it. I would do it, and they'd be like, I had an insurance builder that was like, hey, we loved what you're doing with consulting. How much would you charge for a retainer for staying on? And that was when I was really young.
Yeah.
And I was this was a milestone for me, because I remember my papa, who's like my granddad. He came to me and I was like, Papa, I got a job. When I was 14, and I got a job. And he was, I was like, I'm earning $14 an hour. And I always remember this. He came to me and he goes, do you know what, Kane? That's amazing. But you come to me when you're earning $100 an hour. And I was like, that's
$100.
impossible. How do you get to that when you're 14? That's impossible.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
And I still remember.
My first job was $15 an hour. Coaching.
That's
diving,
good.
Coaching.
And that's really working for yourself to a degree.
$15 an hour.
Well done.
I did
you
that
were
for
15?
years. I was young. Yeah, probably maybe 16.
Okay, nice.
I remember I worked for nearly 2 years to
Yeah.
save everything up to start Sam's Straws.
I really like that. I love Sam Straws. But But anyway, yeah. So when I was, where was I going with this? When I was 14.
Getting into Nerd Herd and what it does. You were advising making $14 an hour.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I remember my papa said that quote, you come back to me when you earn $100 an hour. And I was like, whoa. And then when I was younger, I think I was like 23, I signed a contract with an insurance builder, $155 an hour, secured. And I was like, that's a contract that was, ongoing. I was really happy with that. That's when I built That's when I bought my first supercar. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. So that was good fun.
So Nerd Herd still advises.
Correct.
people?
Yeah, I still do the same today, and also I use it as like a subsidiary for some LED screens.
Yep.
Like I told you, I have some retail screens and some hospitality screens, and that's what I use that for.
So you then rent out some of your screens as well.
Correct.
You also cross-pollinate with CarSwap by having screens.
We have screens in CarSwap,
Implemented there.
for Sportal, for Nerd Herd. So across like all my 3 companies now, I use LED screens.
Wow. And would you say Sportal, between what it actually does with the sports screens and its cross-pollination throughout your other 2 companies, is your biggest business?
I would say so, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not only a service, it's a product. So you're really hitting the 2 on the head. And I've met so many, as I was telling you last night, I've met so many clients, so many like high value clients because of these companies, and different realms as well. Because, I've, for instance, Villies, the pie and...
I love their stuff, by the way.
Villies are amazing.
You got me hard onto them.
I love them.
You did.
Yeah. I was
You hooked me up. You're like, I'm taking you there. I went there. I was like, dude, these are good.
I was honoured to meet Villy and be a good friend with him. Unfortunately, he passed away. But,
Sorry to hear.
Yep. But he's a great man, and he's created a great business. He's been in the industry a very long time, since he was a boy. And I met him through these LED screens. And now we have such a great network, and we sponsor each other. We help each other. And yeah, we've been working together for a very long time, and because of these screens. And not only that, Villies also sponsor a lot of but football.
Yeah.
And because I work in that realm, I've worked for some companies, some like football companies that are like, hey, we really want to sponsor. I'm like, well, I know Villies very well. I get them in the same room together. I'm a good networker like that. I like to think anyway.
Yeah. When you bring a deal together, would you get like a percentage of sale?
No, I'm just known for that guy. And they respect me even more, and I don't expect anything back in return. But sometimes they're like, hey, Kane, you remember how you wanted this? Here it is. And I'm like, great. Yeah. Thank you so much. That's the power of networking. And I don't believe... networking should be one of those things where you try and get value out of someone. I really think it's someone that you know of, you create a friend with, like it's a bond. I believe
I much prefer that as well, just being friendly with people, being good.
When we met each other very early on, we were both on TikTok.
I followed you for so long as well.
Likewise,
we haven't even touched on it, but Kane was low-key a TikToker.
I was 2019 to 20.
You got a couple 100K, right?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna be pretty.
You were ahead of me.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I saw it coming. He was just waiting to drop that flex.
I think we were like in line with each other, and I was like, oh, Sam, he's such a his content was amazing, and Sam thought my content was amazing, and then Sam just went. You just went absolutely like this.
So I was still nice to him.
And then I gave up. I was like, no, this is too hard. Sam's just outdoing me in every field. Yeah, no, I didn't.
That's crazy. Yep. I remember when I first started TikTok.
Yep.
Like I looked at the people with 1 or 2 mil and getting all these views, and I literally thought that was impossible.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even fathom I could be anywhere near close to these people. Like I just saw they're just that good. It's just because they are them.
Same.
And then you kind of like put it out of your realm of possibilities.
Of course.
But anything's possible.
100%.
Anything's possible.
I always say, and you would say it best, like with content, just keep uploading. If it's trash, just don't worry about it. Don't delete it. People get so focused. They upload 1 clip a week and they're like, nah, it's bad. They'll delete it 3 days in. It's like, what are you doing?
Dude, I post like 30 times a week.
Yeah, and I think you've spoken with Gary Vee, and he says the exact same thing. Post the content.
Post, yeah.
Keep posting it.
Dude,
how long have you been posting for? Only 6 months, and I'm not viral. It's like, you need to keep posting.
You know the biggest mind shift I ever had?
Yep.
I was at the TikTok Awards, and one of my friends named Saksham, he was big on YouTube. He had millions.
Yep.
I said, Saksham, how'd you do it, man? He said, bro, I posted 3 times a day, every day for 3 months. And I said, look, I've been posting on YouTube, and it's just not working. And he said, yeah, but how much? And I said, look, I've put, 20, 30, 40 posts up. He said, no, not enough. I said, not enough. What are you talking about? He said, post 3 times a day, every day for 3 months.
He humbled you. It's like, you just need to keep going.
It just completely shifted my like mindset of what was required, and I did it. It worked.
How much are you doing daily right now?
It worked.
Roughly.
We've scheduled 3 a day for the next 6 months.
That's crazy.
And then when I got injured, I haven't been able to dive for 2 months.
Yep.
No problems.
When I was doing TikTok, obviously I'm a novice compared to you, but I was doing TikTok, I was thinking of ideas on the spot, and I would never schedule. I still never schedule. Obviously, I'm not so big on social media anymore, but I just post as we go.
Yeah.
But like, because it's your like full-time job, you know, like it's your realm.
Well, then you can find ways of building out
Definitely.
systems to create more content.
And for the viewers, you know, I've been staying at Sam's now for 2 days. He's been really...
It was actually staying here.
hospitable.
We've had to pack down his bed for the podcast.
Yep. No, I was on a blow-up bed. Super comfortable, by the way. Would recommend. And I've seen how hard they work, and I've seen the different like languages and like different, you know, you guys are just on the ball.
Appreciate it, man.
And I really enjoy it. Like,
we love what we do.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah. Very organized. You guys deserve all the success that you currently have. You and your team. Yeah.
Yeah, and working with Ramon, like being around good people that have a
I
same
love
vision
Ramon.
and goals.
He's amazing. He's a great guy all around.
He's getting so much more done. We've been exploring the last couple of days in Sydney because whenever I go to Adelaide, you show me around.
Yeah, exactly.
You take me camping, you take me here.
And that's the reason I'm here, by the way, is because Sam's come over to Adelaide so many times, and I always get the message, when are you coming to Sydney? When are you coming to Sydney? And I always like shove it off. Oh yeah, soon. Never would do it. But now I'm like, I've got a bit of a break. I've sold Nano, which by the way has freed me up a lot. Because I did the A to Z of everything. And like most ecom guys that are watching this, they're going to be like, Kane's stupid for doing that. Like, why didn't he outsource 3PLing? Why didn't he do that? Why didn't he do this? I wanted to keep it all in house, and I wanted to learn, and I learned. You know, so yeah, that's and I created so many good networking relationships with me and Australia Post, doing it all myself, and yeah, I'm glad that I did it all myself. But
and the fact that you've started a company yourself, ran the company yourself,
Yep.
and sold the company basically yourself.
Correct. 100%.
Just being seeing that full cycle is probably a life-changing experience.
I completely agree. And, you know, it was a tough challenge for sure. But yeah, I did it all myself. And it wasn't, my company was a company, and it wasn't a drop shipping. Like, a lot of people get confused between drop shipping and like running an actual successful.
Because you built a brand.
Correct.
You were
and
selling.
Also, I was shipping in-house, and I was shipping outside of Australia.
Yep.
Not shipping directly to the customer's house, which can take a long time from
Because drop shipping is what? A safe startup because you nearly have low overheads because you're selling one, buying one.
Yeah, correct. And it's a tough realm because, you know, a lot of the big ecom guys that I talk to are saying it's dead. It's not going to work. Some people have great success out of it. But some people have great success. I have people hitting me up that are making a lot of money, $20,000 a day. Like of revenue just from drop shipping. But the only downside to it is logistics. That's really the only thing that's the chokehold. Otherwise, everyone would do it. Imagine if you could get a package in 3 to 4 days, like in 3 to 4 days, and it's 30% cheaper.
Because the drop shipping advantage, right? So disadvantage that it takes so long.
Correct. The logistics, yeah.
Yep.
It's coming from normally overseas, and it's coming through different routes. The package may come damaged because, you know, it might get here quicker, but it's getting handled a lot more. You know? So yeah, there's a lot of downfalls to drop shipping, but also, like I said, there's a lot of people that are watching this that are like, drop shipping's working for me. If it works, it works.
Doing the whole thing in-house too is good because then when you outsource certain things, you still understand them. Like the bigger I've become with work, the more you need to outsource to sustainably grow and look after yourself. Because I feel like the more you do, you just kind of eventually overwork yourself, and you go back, right, how can I come down to a sustainable work?
100%.
It's
like
things.
It's like
you have to know it.
It's an art form, right? Like meta ads, learn just A to Z of a company is being an art form. If you're only doing, you know, like A to G or something like that, you don't know the rest. And like the best way to explain it's like Picasso. The best analogy I can give is like Picasso, right? He's getting people to paint for him. It's like, it's not going to be as good. Exactly. Like I like to do it myself because I believe I can. A lot of people get digital agencies to run their meta ads or their Google ads or their SEO. SEO is a bit different, but good analogy being meta ads. I would learn them.
Meta ads, everyone, blanket.
And I believe
even for me.
And I believe, yeah, correct. If you were to like start doing paid advertising, yeah, well, you don't do paid advertising. Sam is talented enough that he does organic.
No, see, my approach has always been organic.
I love it.
Organic because,
but with a product, it's a bit harder. But yes.
Well, I had Sam's Straws and I still did organic.
I love that because you've got a big face behind you. You know what I mean? Like, so you got a good.
My approach has just always been because I look and I could be wrong, and maybe if I had different product without my face on it, I would definitely have to learn. But I look at the amount it costs to run paid ads, and for me, I know how to create content
Correct.
cheaper than that
I like that.
and
that's,
more effective.
I agree. No, you've been very successful in that realm. I like
But
that.
high production of it. So like, not make 2 or 3 videos about your product. Make 100.
Yeah.
And then distribute them everywhere. Five platforms. There's 500 assets out there.
I like
of your
that.
content.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a smart way of doing it. And with meta ads, it's very critique. You have to be on it every day. And even like Davey Fogarty, who owns the Oodie, he basically told me like never get agencies. Obviously you have people helping you.
I had agencies with Sam's Jaws.
There you go.
And it was just the biggest rort. Like, it didn't work.
Fair enough. There you go. And it's because the content might suck, and also the way that they're advertising it with the data. So like they could be advertising it to the wrong demographic. They're not analyzing your data like you would. What demographic am I at? Am I at male or female? That's the thing. I thought my product, Nano Flashlights, was going to be male dominant. You would think that, right? Like camping,
I would certainly
fishing,
think so, yeah.
Female.
Like a masculine
It was
product.
female. It was female dominant.
What
because
percentage?
It was
60?
It's hard to percent. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I haven't really looked at the large scale data, but I see it like in my orders, and you can actually see it in the meta ads as well.
Maybe safety if they go outside
100%,
and things like that.
Females are buying it for safety and for their hubbies and for their cars, and they love it. And they're the ones always buying more. So never underestimate that, and always do your ads yourself to learn. At larger scale, maybe. I could be wrong, but...
Well, your business, like, no one cares about it more than you do. So you look at the data, you look at the numbers. Like, even
Correct.
My social stuff, I like to be across everything.
Yes.
I like to have the final view of anything before it goes out. Make sure you're across it.
Just to make sure.
We even we have guys who top line look at content as a quality control, and I still like to see everything.
I love
before
that.
it goes out.
Well, it's
Just in case.
Because while we're recording this, I've seen you guys maybe doing something with Peter Dutton, and I've seen you guys doing your production quality for that, and it's going through a lot of hands, it's going through a lot of eyes, and so I.
And
really
if we need to
respect
start something from scratch,
that. I could imagine.
we are.
Yep.
Yep. Aren't we, Ramon?
Definitely. And that's why, like, going back to Nano Flashlights and learning it yourself, that's why I wanted to do consulting, like mentorship, like helping people one-on-one, because that's got really great value in it. I have so many people hitting me up saying like, hey Kane, how do I start this, how do I do that, and obviously you would get it the same. You'd get a lot of people, how do I do
the content, man. And I love to talk about it. So
Of course.
a lot of my friends, family, like, I'll sit down and run through them how to do it. And there's one person that has done it better than anyone. I don't know if you know him. He's a guy named Cody Watts.
I have. Yes.
Cody Watts.
Yes. Yeah.
Love the man. I've probably sat down and explained how I do content to 100 people. He took what I said word for word and just ran to the fence with it. Like, he did it.
That's awesome.
I said, you got to post 3 times a day. You got to do this. You got to do that. He said, okay.
I'm going to do it.
He went and did it. And he's got like millions across
worked.
everything. It's his full-time
I've seen
job.
him. Yeah, I know the one.
And he'll give me credit for it. But he's
like
so
that.
nice. But he put so much work in to just doing the work.
But there's only so many people you can reply to in such detail, right? How do you tell a kid, for instance, whoever your audience is, how do you tell them how to do what you're doing in a few words or less? And how do you tell that to 1,000 people?
You could make content about it.
That's true.
Which is what I would do.
That's smart.
I've thought about it, but I've never made much content around like the advising social stuff that I do.
Yep. And it gets a little harder, and that's why I kind of want to do this like one-on-one kind of stuff.
Because I think you could make good content about. Like, I would generally be interested in the content of you explaining how you did certain things, even like down to the simplest problem. Like, hey, I had this problem with meta ads, and this is how I fix it. Like, I'd be fascinated. I reckon if you made 100 videos and things like that, it would blow up.
I could try. I'd need a team. Like yours, though, because I would suck at the editing side of things. But definitely I can talk to people. I can definitely help. Because with IT consulting, I went through schools, and I went to the largest school in South Australia. And the reason behind that is because I was really good with the clients, i.e. the teachers and the kids, because I could explain things like no other IT person. Every other IT person was kind of just there doing their job. They just kept a server up. They were good. But I was really good at helping. And so that's kind of like why I flourished in the tech realm, because there's not many people in tech that are really good with talking and explaining how to do something step by step.
You've done it. you know. Like when
Correct.
you've done it, you can
Experience.
explain and teach.
That's why older people are so wise, and you should listen to them because
I've done it.
Yeah, exactly. I listen to my papa. I bring him up again because he was just super wise. You
Yeah,
know?
I actually do listen to a lot of older people as well. Like
Yeah.
I'm fascinated. Like these people, especially people who are where you want to be. Like I ask a lot of questions. I'm very curious.
They've just gone through it.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
curious. I wonder too how much time they save you just by asking the question.
Oh, definitely, definitely, and yeah, no. So that's kind of what I want to get into is just helping people.
The advisory stuff.
Yeah,
More one-on-one?
definitely. Yeah, more, I think more one-on-one and classroom environment too. You know, it wouldn't be a course or anything like that. It's
Why
actual
not?
mentorship.
Because I feel like you've told me a few times you don't want to do a course, but it sounds like it would be perfect for a course.
Yeah, I think it's a bit like cliche-ish and it doesn't really help people. Like the value is there, but I would have to...
Could you do like a retreat?
Could do that. Yeah, I think like the classroom realm is good. Like having like, you know, 10, 20,
In
30
person.
people, yeah, and them individually asking me questions, but also one-on-one as well. Because there was times where when I was early on, I was like, oh, these meta ads so confusing. What is this data? It is very daunting, by the way. You guys haven't seen it, but Ads Manager and Meta, when you first look at it, it's just data everywhere and you do not understand it. And it is overwhelming and you spend money that you don't need to. That's the whole idea of it. Facebook are making like $100 million in less than 3 minutes. And that mainly from people like me, my little small e-commerce business. But then there's people that are bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and that are spending like Davey. He was spending, you know,
Yep.
1 million to just Meta a month. So, and like that's technically even like a small medium based company. So
I went
like,
to a Meta event not even 2 months ago, and Meta was throwing it for the agencies that spend millions with them each year to celebrate them and thank them for that.
And
But
that's-
yeah,
that-
because agencies also spend millions to these
Of
companies.
course.
So say Sam Straws that went to one of these agencies, they spend all that money, and it goes to Meta because they're basically just marketing platforms.
Correct. And yeah, so that's why Meta are just so large because a lot of people don't understand that. Like, how Facebook makes money through ads, but why so much? It's just because the scale, you know, like I was saying, I was only spending $1,000 a day on ads. And that's still quite small. For a lot of people, that's crazy. Like when I first started, or when someone first starts, I tell them to spend whatever their product is, valued, their average order, like their average product value, then you put 20% on top of it. So let's just say if it's $50, just do $70 to start a day, or $50. Just try that. And you might get one sale a day if you're lucky, just to start.
Yeah,
But
because
eventually your pixel warms up, you get more sales, you get addicted, and like, yeah.
Because I've sold products on Amazon in the US and did a little
awesome.
bit of like marketing
Yep.
and paid ads over there.
Yep.
And like overheads stack up real quick.
They do, especially with Amazon.
Like I
Yeah.
tried Amazon, what do they call it? Amazon Fulfillment.
FBA?
FBA, man.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I forgot the term. It's been
Yeah,
a while.
no, I haven't done it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
even just complicated. You get like the products from Alibaba. You got to put barcodes on them, register them with Amazon, then
Definitely,
you
yeah.
got to market
And
them through there.
That's the
and,
thing with Amazon. You need like barcodes,
yeah,
like unique
and they
identifiers.
charge you FBA fulfillment
Yep,
fees.
and then you need like trademarks or pending trademarks.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah,
do
yeah.
because you have barcodes on yours or no?
I actually don't. I just have point of sale barcodes for people that put it in their stores, but I
Yeah.
didn't actually have unique identifiers.
Because then you got to get them from like GS1.
Yep.
And then
Oh,
they
you know your
sell
stuff.
sell all the barcodes
Wow.
as well.
Yeah, no, I didn't go that large. Yeah,
insane.
yeah. I mean, obviously, if I went a lot harder on it and went a lot more overseas, so I got a lot of overseas customers, but it was like less than probably like 10%, 10%, something like that. Yeah.
So yours were mostly Australian based?
Correct. Yeah, because I was advertising in Australia.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. And as a kid, were you pretty driven? Like you seem very, very, very entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Were you always like that? Did you learn it from somewhere?
When I was 12 or 13 years old, if my mum seen this, she would laugh because she would have forgotten it. But I started like a dog walking business, and I only had like 2 clients, but that was enough. And I was doing $20, $25 an hour back then when I was 12. And yeah, and I used to print out the A4 piece of paper, and you know how you get the scissors and you cut your numbers, and like people would take your number.
Yes,
I did
yes.
that. Local advertising. I did local drops. I was very driven, and I got my first job. I was just telling you this before. But my first job, 13, 14 years old. And then I became a chef, a qualified chef.
See, I find that so random.
Yep.
Can you just give me a little bit about this chef, Kane the chef?
Sure. So between the
How
ages
old were
of
you?
13 and 18. 13
Okay.
to 18. I was working this
7 years.
hospitality.
Oh, that's nearly a decade of experience.
Correct. So, but I do.
Are
not
you a good cook?
Oh no, no.
You've never cooked me anything.
I can cook a steak, and that's pretty easy, by the way.
Okay.
But, some people find it hard. Like deterring the difference from like a medium to well done, that kind of
I
stuff.
think I'm a pretty decent cook. I've cooked
You are. By the way,
lunch.
Sam has cooked for me like multiple times
Yeah.
while I've been here. Guacamole on point.
I love my guac.
That was
Love my
amazing. But yes, no, I do know how to do it, but I don't practice it much anymore.
Okay. So you were a legitimate chef in a restaurant.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And so between the ages of 17 and 18, so only like really 2 years, and working front of house with pans and like pasta mainly. Yeah, but it was good fun.
And then you're like, I want to go entrepreneurial.
Yeah, so at that time when I hit 18, I got a job within a school, and it was really weird because most of the year 11s and 12s.
What were you doing at school?
No, I was doing IT. I got my first full-time career at 18, which I'm very blessed.
Like
and very
full-time
lucky.
salary?
I think it was 2012 or 13. Yep. I got a year contract, and I was the same age as year 12s, and I was their like IT guy. So
Because you left school in year 10.
I did, yes.
Yeah.
We forgot to mention that, but yes.
Did you go to university?
No, I did TAFE.
You also
So-
randomly sit on the university board, don't you?
Yeah, Board of Advisory, Flinders University.
So random.
Yeah, I still do a bit of work for them, but what basically and left at the end of year 10,
Yeah.
and then started doing IT in Certificate 3, Certificate 4, and Diploma and so on
Yeah.
TAFE. And I was the only kid out of 4 kids that Mum and Dad had. I was the only kid to drop out. Yeah, and I was the youngest as well, so I was the last. Yep.
So you
Yeah.
didn't finish school, but then went on to the entrepreneurial stuff.
Yeah, and I started my, like I said, nerd herd at 18,
Yeah, wow.
while also juggling my full-time career, which was at the schools. So like I was always doing 2 things, never really one.
I've always been the same. I've always felt like I'm
100%.
better off doing multiple
And
things.
that's how you get out of this.
Everyone
9 to 5
tells
grind.
me, like, everyone advises me, do one thing, do this, do this, do this,
Yeah.
do this. Like, they all advise me to do one thing.
Yeah.
And it just annoys me, to be
Well, I
honest.
feel like it's the mentality in Australia, like work the 9 to 5 and like just, we have a lot of that environment here. But a lot of people now, and especially in 2024, going into 2025, side hustles. You probably hear that a lot.
Even in diving, like,
Yep.
I wanted to do 10 meter and 3 meter. They're like, nah. I'm like, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Just to
No,
be different.
I'm going to do it. Yeah. And it's always worked out better for me.
Yep,
And then
definitely.
even in business, I'm like doing Sam's Jaws
Yep.
and then I'm doing my social media stuff. And
Yep.
like, oh, you should focus on
Definitely.
one thing. But I've always just found by being productive and being busy and doing a whole bunch of things you like, you're just
Yep.
always better off.
Yep.
Because you always have more options.
Definitely.
You
definitely.
always have more strings to pull on. Like,
And yeah, you're 100% right. Like, I even on that point, like, Kyle Chalmers, he does freestyle, he's done butterfly,
Yep.
and now he's doing a swim academy, so he's diversified. You're
have
spot
to.
on. Yeah, a
You
lot
have
of people
to.
are doing it these days. So
and then the more skills you have, like if you've built a business, you have certain skills that can be applied elsewhere.
Yes.
Like if just having multiple things that you're working
you got to
on
be
and
willing
doing.
to learn.
Look at Elon Musk.
Yep.
Did anyone? They probably did.
Yep.
Just focus on Tesla. But no, I
Definitely.
want to do SpaceX. I want to do Starlink. I want to do.
Elon's a great character because
Neuralink.
he's a good one to bring into this conversation because he created PayPal. You know PayPal very
Of course,
well.
yeah,
I
and
use it
Zip2.
daily. Yeah. You're too good at this. Anyway, he created that and sold it, and he could have lived a very happy lifestyle. He could have had a nice house, nice car, nice family, and just lived anywhere he wanted.
He
But
put
just-
everything.
correct.
Tesla, SpaceX.
Yep, SpaceX. He had rocket ships exploding, almost near failure, and like never gave up. Imagine creating just not so much SpaceX. That's an amazing adventure, but like like Tesla, the electric cars.
Apparently, it's the only car company that's never been bankrupt.
Wow, there you go. That's pretty crazy to think.
I think there's
And
one
now they're
other,
like
actually.
up the top. They're up the top. Like
So
they're one
impressive.
at the top. Yep.
But that's like one piece of advice that's always like, I don't know why, it's just always irritated me when people are like, oh, you should just do this, just do that, just that. I'm like, nah, man, I just want to do everything. I
Definitely.
just do everything. And
Yeah.
it's always been better for me.
Definitely.
Like,
Yep.
I feel like there's a lot of people just give you like pointless advice.
For sure. I feel like you should be doing multiple things, especially in 2025. Like,
Couldn't
that's
agree
a must.
more.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
I think back in the day, 100 years ago, people would have one career their whole lives. And then,
Yes.
last couple of decades it might have been 2. And now it's like 3 or 4. Like, people chop and
The
change
mentality changes
so
for sure.
much, which is good because people
Yep.
are experiencing more things.
Yeah,
But I
and
feel like-
sometimes my nan says the same thing. She doesn't understand why I'm doing so much. She,
Oh,
all
good,
my
love her.
fingers in all different these pies
Yeah.
and stuff. But it's just that mentality. Yeah, and younger people understand. They're like, oh yeah, I understand. But the older mentality are like, oh, I don't really understand. I've been retired for 10 years and I don't really understand why you're doing so many different things. I can't keep up with you. And it's like, that's a good thing. If someone says, I can't keep up with what you're doing, that means you're doing the right things.
Yeah, you just got to keep plugging away. But yeah, just the diversification. I've always found it better off. And you wouldn't even believe, look at the diving. Diving traditionally makes nothing. And then the social media, I've been able to use those two skills.
For sure.
And then you've got like a different company and you can actually lean everything in. And it's in that inner circle where things are super successful because you've got these other strong pillars that all lean into it. But if you just have one,
100%,
it wouldn't do it.
You got to be able to pivot. Like I can guarantee you, and I don't think anyone's touched this on your podcast before, but when the Com Games wiped out diving, like imagine divers that have no other anything else to lean on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
that would have been very hard.
And I looked at that and said, this does really suck.
Of course.
And to a degree, it said, thank God I've always built things outside of diving and I haven't relied on that one thing, you know, because when I was young, no one would have told me that the Commonwealth Games wouldn't happen for diving. Like it just wasn't even possible to think about.
Yep.
You wouldn't even think it was possible.
Yeah.
That they could do that, but they did. See, by having multiple things, you're prepared for situations that happen once in 100 years.
Definitely.
And you can pivot. Because who I feel bad for are the younger athletes who haven't experienced the Commonwealth Games and who use the Commonwealth Games as a chance to springboard to the international scene and get seen, get sponsors. Correct. You take away an event like that, a lot of these people lose a massive opportunity to progress in life and their careers. So I'm grateful that I was able to go to one, win a medal, maximize the opportunity. I would love to have done it again, but the young people who haven't had a chance, they're the ones that really suffer.
Definitely. I definitely feel for them as well. And as soon as I heard that news, it's just devastating. And that's why I really respect you because you've done so much and you've diversified so much as well.
Even your skill sets, like by doing different things, you can see where your skills are best suited.
Yep.
Like I can train my absolute hardest and get to one level in diving, but I could put that same effort in something else and be, the best in the country, the best in the world. By doing more things as well, you find more skill sets that you're suited for.
I've had it all. I've had people say, Kane, have you tested for ADHD? Like you're just doing so different much. Yeah. But I'm
also I am actually dyslexic as well. So
there you go. A lot of people are. You'd be very surprised. But I remember Ramon said to me the other day, he goes, how do you just know everything about everything? And I'm like, because I've tried it all. I don't have an engineering background, but I just love it. And me and all my business partners, we all love engineering. None of us have engineering. So one of my business partners' dads is an engineer, but we just love it. We're fascinated by it. And just building and fabricating things and electrical engineering, that kind of stuff. It just interests us. But I wouldn't say I'm a master of it. What was that saying that you said the other day?
Oh, jack of all trades, master at none.
That one, yes, that's pretty much that's.
I don't know if that's a flex game.
I don't know, but that's kind of me to a T.
You're a master. Yeah. I feel like you're a master of a lot of things though. That's just the same.
Some people have called me the real life Google, and I'm like, you guys are too nice.
Although when
I think I'm there's many times where I've been here and I've been like, Ramon, can you Google something for me? I do not know most things.
I know. He's pretty close to real life Google. You helped me buy my first crypto stuff that was 5 years ago.
That was good fun. Yeah.
So
yeah. And if you did hold it, it would have been good.
Dude, I made another poor investment.
Oh, yep.
I bought a whole bunch of Tesla shares and then I sold it.
Yep. But now,
I sold it 2 days before Trump got in.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I probably lost out on the 50% capital gain.
Did you do that as a strategy?
What? A losing strategy? To get a capital loss?
You knew the election was coming up.
No, I didn't. I just didn't even think about it.
Oh, I see.
Because I wanted to pay it off my home.
Yep. No,
so
that's
I was like,
fair.
I'm going to take it from there, pay it off my home.
You got priorities, so that's fair. Christina Vitholkis I was telling you about?
Yeah.
So she, when we first met, she was like, Kane, how do I buy Bitcoin? Blah, blah, blah. And I love helping people.
Yeah.
As I said, creates value. So I helped her with her Bitcoin investment. And she's loving life. She called me the other day and she was thanking me. She was like, Kane, I think she might have 2 times or close to 2 times, but she invested quite a lot. So that's a lot for her. And it was a lot. Yeah. So which was awesome. But just getting that that satisfaction by helping someone.
Dude.
You can only guide them. Obviously I guided you with the Bitcoin
You can
stuff.
just lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Great analogy. You've got them all. But yeah, no. So that's I love helping people like that, and I've helped a lot of people buy cryptocurrency, a lot, because it is overwhelming. It is hard.
They should give you equity. What's his name?
That's true.
The guy who founded it.
Satoshi Nakamoto. Oh yeah. I should knock
the
on
amount
his
of contributions Kane.
I should knock on his grave if he is dead. We don't know. I should knock on his grave and be like, hey, I've helped a lot of people buy it, et cetera, et cetera. I paid a lot in fees.
Really?
Fees. Yeah. When the network's congested, you pay more in fees and such. So yeah.
I've heard that.
Yep. So and sometimes it's not instant. Sometimes it takes 10 minutes or whatever. But the banks have had to change because of this, which is great. OSCO payments. I'm sure you've heard of them. OSCO.
No.
OSKO.
No.
OSCO payments are like between the banks, like the major banks, NAB. They've all created like a contract together where they can do instant bank transfers of up to like 50,000, whatever it is. And it will be instant. And the only reason they did that is because of the Bitcoin influence, because they were losing and they were like, oh no. Like, obviously they're making a lot of money.
Well, you
still.
should be able to move. Like, I've had problems where I haven't been able to move my money fast enough.
And you're so young that you probably don't even remember the days when you transferred money and it took a business day, or sometimes 2 business days.
Or even over a certain quantity. You got to go into the bank to move. You got to do this.
Yep.
You got to do that. I'm like, it's my money.
Could you imagine if you bought me something right now? Like, let's say I'm staying at yours, whatever. I lost my wallet, and you had to buy me something, and it was like $1,000, a large amount of money. And I was like, yeah, I'll pay you back, but you have bills to pay. And I'm like, hey, I'll pay you right now. And it's taken 2 business days to get to you. And it's a Friday, so it's not going to get to you till Tuesday. Yeah. And you got bills to pay. Like, banking system
can be a big
should
issue.
Be better, for sure. And they're innovating because of cryptocurrency, and I love that.
Well, competition forces people to be better.
Definitely.
Like, if you can I feel like a lot of companies don't change until they have to.
Correct.
And if you have got a highly competitive product like crypto, where blockchain technology makes things a lot faster, then they have to move. Otherwise, they'll lose business.
They have to pivot. You're right. They have to do something. Otherwise, they die.
What about one of the banks tried to bring out a charge for withdrawing cash, and people got uproared.
CBA.
Dude, they changed it like the same day they changed
they were
it back.
like, oh, we made a little bit of a mistake.
Whoops.
Our marketing team, they're now gone.
Yeah.
That was really big. I seen that and I was just like, this is terrible. And like, I've got a really good bank. I'm not going to say who they are, but I've got a really good bank.
So do I. I love banking with who I bank with.
I think I know who you're banking with, and I'm with them.
Are we?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I think I've transferred your money before. So, and...
it didn't take a week.
Yeah, it didn't take a week. They're great. They're for crypto, to a degree. And there's, I've actually had a lot of bank accounts just to try... I got ADHD just to try, learn.
Yeah, I've had a few as well.
Yep, I've had ING. ING are quite good.
Okay.
They're online.
The bank I use now, I feel like I love them because the app is good.
I know that. Yeah.
And I bank 90% on the app.
Yeah, I'm the exact
international
same.
transfers.
It's never down, and if it is down, it's down between like 3 and 3:30 a.m. It's like, when am I going to?
Well, I'm probably not buying anything productive then anyway.
But we have some banks in South Australia, and they're just South Australian owned, and they're terrible. Their fees are so high. Small little things like just transferring money, getting money out, costs, everything associated. And I was with them early on, and I'm so glad I was, because I learned. And that's a good thing about learning, is failing. I'm not saying being with the wrong bank is failing, but you learn these things and you get better over time.
Because I think the banks, because they take a percentage every time you pay too, the government started to crack down on that because it costs them nothing.
Correct.
It costs them nothing.
Yes.
To
transfer the funds between and Visa, MasterCard.
But then they try and charge you for using cash because they have to have people that man the cash registers and things like that.
Which should be like somewhat illegal. Like, to access your own cash, you shouldn't be.
Yeah, no, but I think that's why there was a massive uproar. Like, the people didn't stand for it.
I understand if you're putting it in a long-term investment account, those accounts that you can't touch within 12 months, and you get a penalty if you take out. Fair enough. But like your everyday savings account, your everyday advantage, that kind of account, you should not have to pay money to get your own money out.
Yeah. And if the banks all come together and do the same thing, because if one of them doesn't, everyone maybe would migrate there.
Yeah.
If they all do the same thing and kind of monopolize.
But that's the thing here in Australia. Like, we are going to see correct. And how many like major food retailers have we got here?
Big 2, Coles, Woolworths.
Correct.
And you got the big 4. You got big 4 banks, top 2 food, and there's the big 4.
There's a lot. There's
big 4 accounting, big 4 legal.
And this list could go on for a long time, because same with car classifiers. There's only really like 2 or 3 major ones. And like, you go to America and you go see how many banks there are. and they're the largest in the world. You go to how many food places do they have? Amazon even has a food place, you know, like, then you go and look at their, like, we went to America in 2017 to explore car swap for it. And there was about 9 competitors. And they were like charging $0, $0 leads. And we're like, how do we compete?
Like competitive
but that's
competitors.
saturation, and that's a healthy marketplace. I love that. And that's how it
Tricky
should
too
be.
in Australia's, I think it is 10 times smaller.
Correct, yeah. Roughly 350 million to about 27 million.
Yeah, so just probably what, 12, 13 times smaller.
Yeah,
More.
So it's like
Can be tricky.
Definitely. And that, like I said, in the next 10 to 20 years, we'll see more food places opening. And, like, you know, in South Australia, we've got one called, like, Drake's, and they're doing really well. They're, you know,
because that's tiny.
Yeah,
like Adelaide itself,
course,
I think, Adelaide's got less than 2 million.
Country town. Oh, yeah, much less. Yeah, I mean, like, South Australia as a whole, I think, is 1.6, 1.4. Yeah, South Australia as a whole.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, definitely, we're tiny.
Has it been tough to succeed in a small town in Australia?
Very good question. Very good question. If it works in South Australia, it will work anywhere in Australia. That's the best place. So, like, when a McDonald's update comes out, it literally, so, you know, the computers, you know, the bots that are taking over, like, you know, some of those jobs. Yep.
I actually like those.
They came first in South
They're
Australia.
good.
They started in South Australia because they wanted to test it there. All the testing ground, even in energy, happens. You know, you remember Elon came to Adelaide. Yeah, those things, they happen in South Australia because if it works there, it's going to work anywhere in the country.
Is that right?
Yep. So a lot of people test that, and a lot of software engineers test their software out as well.
Adelaide.
So yeah, a lot of updates are done.
Why is that?
prior.
Just because it is small, you see the effects
A
quickly?
lot of small are very degraded as well. Like it's a great market to test, and obviously like people are very, very risk averse in Adelaide as well. So you know, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's not as much money flowing anywhere near as much as what Sydney or Melbourne is doing.
Because I love Sydney. I like being in the big city where there's a lot happening.
Correct.
Where there's a lot of money moving and a lot of events. Like I know for my work, I'm in the city sometimes twice a day for work events.
Yeah, wow.
It's busy.
Yeah.
I couldn't live anywhere else.
And it's funny because you say that because like I'm in the city in Adelaide once a week, if that. I obviously drive north of the city and I drive south of the city, east, but there's no real reason for me to stop inside the city. My office is south of the city. We have an office in Melbourne as well, which is like east of the city. So like there's no real reason for me to go in. But you do a lot of podcasting, you do a lot of, you know, interviews, media, this and that, and a lot of that is happening in the CBD.
Well, I moved to Sydney originally because of diving.
Yeah.
Because this is where you got to be the train. I live nearby for training, and
Of course.
I just feel like when it comes to, if you want to be at the top of your field, you've got to be in the major cities. But then
Definitely.
you're at the top of your field. I suppose you're still around the city centre.
Yep.
Would you consider moving somewhere like Sydney?
Like I've thought about it, and you know, I'm a really close family man. So like
You are.
me, my
I've seen your mom and your
parents-
dad. They
Yeah,
call
but
you
not only
twice
just
a
my
day.
parents.
It's so nice too, man.
My sister, my brother, we're all just so close. They're my best friends. So it's like saying, hey, Kane, would you move away from all your family and all your best friends? It's like, it's super hard. It's super hard. We work interstate a lot, but we're just visiting and then we come back.
Yeah.
Visiting, come back. And, you know, you've seen me. I travel quite a lot as
You
well.
do.
So
You were in Sydney the other day, and I was like, wait, what are you...
yeah,
what are
like,
you doing
wait,
here?
are you here early for our visit?
Yeah. Did I completely mess up our dates? No, I wasn't here either. I was in the Cook Islands.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was actually, I was here picking up my new car. I
Yeah.
loved it. Yeah. So I loved
Congratulations on that, by the way.
that. Oh, thank you so much.
Was
Yeah.
that... What is the car, and was it a celebration present for selling Nano?
Coincidentally, not really.
Okay.
It was a very good buy. And I've always been in the market for one. I haven't had a really nice car for 3 years. I say really nice car, like, you know, nice sports car. So it was kind of like a treat to myself. But yeah, I guess it's almost like when I sold the company. But I sold the company like 4 months ago. It's like, you know, I just been on the low key.
Yeah, you have, because you posted about it yesterday.
The transition period, everything like that. I just wanted to make sure that was all smooth. There was no issues and such before I posted a hooray. You know.
Did
here's
you
my
do
trophy.
anything to celebrate when you sold it?
I had my like close friends over, and like I told only very few people. So yeah, I would say we did. I definitely probably had a drink or two. I don't drink alcohol much. So,
I don't
you know.
drink either much.
Yeah, exactly. So
I just like to feel healthy.
definitely.
And when you got so much work to do,
for sure,
like you want to be productive.
definitely,
Like,
and I think it disrupts the mindset. So, but no, I picked up the car that I picked up from Sydney was a Maserati MC Stradale. It's like my goal car. I love it. I love the sound, the gearbox, the motor, and everything. And it's like the top Maserati model, other than their hypercar range. But I absolutely love it. Yeah, absolutely love it.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's good to be back in a nice car like this. And yeah.
And what's next? What's next for the next 5-10 years for Kane? What's your goal?
Oh, a very good question. Definitely scale harder on Car Swap, Sportal, Nerd Herd.
Like
those
nationally,
three.
internationally,
Yeah,
internally.
Internationally with Sportal, I really want to get to. Car Swap's already international, and we're doing great in that realm because it's all user based, so we're doing fine there. And Nerd Herd mainly just go national, like so pretty much stick within like Sydney and such. But yeah, I think I just progress on those, and that was the whole idea of selling Nano, was concentrating on those three. And just having a bit of fun in the meantime as well, and yeah.
You certainly do that. I love hanging out with you, Kane, because you're fun, hardworking, positive. Like,
Thank you. That means a lot.
I'm glad to call you friend.
And likewise. That's why we're good friends. Yeah.
Kane's one of those people when I first met, I just clicked with.
Likewise.
Yeah.
It's the exact same.
I feel like I've been friends with him my whole life.
Exactly. We have some good laughs. Sam used to love my TikToks. He used to think I was so funny.
I did.
My
Not anymore.
70% of my 70%
70%
of my TikToks were comedy.
Yeah,
So,
they were. They're like you just doing funny stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't created a TikTok in a while. That's probably why I can't think of a video. But you remember the videos.
Yeah.
Do you remember that trick shot video? How I bounced the tennis ball and it hit the cup and it shattered?
Oh, and your mum just yelled at you?
You know the one.
Your mum was furious.
That was all set up.
Was it?
I'm admitting to it.
Did you actually break a cup?
I broke a cup. It fell off the staircase. That was the whole
Dude.
plan. It only took me 2 shots. I was like, all right, Mum, there's going to be a cup come down. Don't swear. Just like yell as you normally would if this was to happen. And I tried it once. It nearly hit it. I was like, oh, this is close. And then I tried it again. This is when the trick shot era was happening.
Wait, I've made my fair share of trick shot videos. I have a trick shot video on YouTube.
It was like 2020, 2021, I think.
You got to have a go.
And it was during COVID, so
you got to try everything. Yeah.
And I was just like, bounced it, hit the mug, it shattered, it went everywhere. And my mum just played the part perfectly. And then I was shocked. I ran, grabbed the camera, and I reckon that had, I would have to check on TikTok, but I think it had like 800,000 likes. So you can convert that to views,
I'd say
TikTok well.
maybe 7 to 10 mil.
Correct.
Yeah.
There's something like that. And that went really viral and it was really good. And then I
so
did a
impressive.
part 2 and stuff. And
In fact, I saw your content first, and then I learned how entrepreneurial you are. So I saw your content, so it was funny. I was like, I like this guy, he's funny.
Yeah.
And then we connected on Instagram.
And you
I
seen
saw
the
your
business
car
side
stuff.
of things. Yeah.
And then I started seeing your business stuff. I was like, oh, wow.
There we go. And it clicked from there.
Yeah, it's amazing. Content's so good. I think personal branding is crucially important. I think more so than ever before.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. It was hard to... How do you go with conversion on TikTok? Because I had really trouble converting it to personal profiles like Instagram. And a lot of people say the same about YouTube. I don't have a YouTube channel, but a lot of people I have got 2 million subscribers on TikTok, but I've only got 20 or 50 followers or subscribers on YouTube. And it's just how do you do that conversion? How do you...
Something else I've noticed these days is less people follow because more people just watch the For You page. So what's nearly more important than following is content engagement.
Yes.
So because people, back in the day, you just scroll your following page.
Yep.
Where nowadays you scroll the For You page. So even if you see someone every day, you may not even follow them. And there's a less attraction to following someone because the For You page will just show you what you want anyway.
I see.
So I find cross-pollinating between platforms has always been difficult. And I think it's becoming even more difficult. But YouTube, I still think you can build such a positive audience on long-form content. And then just trying to always tell people to go follow your Instagram.
I see. So the funnel,
But it is tricky. And I think it's become even more tricky than it's been before.
And I think it's just, I pretty much what I'm summarizing there is consistency. Just keep posting and then eventually...
It's exactly what I was going to say. Your best bet is to just post that content on Instagram.
Yeah.
And grow it.
I see. Yeah. And see, I was in the era when I was posting on TikTok, Reels. And I see you're really concentrating on Reels at the moment.
Every day. I post on Reels every day on Instagram.
Yeah.
I used to think I can't do Instagram every day because it's the premium platform or whatever. And you've got to only put your best stuff there. And I still put my best stuff there, but I used to post once a week. And now it's, even when I was doing 3 times a day on TikTok, but now I'm trying to do every day on Instagram, sometimes twice a day, and at least 3 on TikTok.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. And so you've got...
But we do like, $3 billion a year.
3
And I'm
billion.
trying. I want to push to 10 next year.
Do you know how large that audience is? Like, have you ever gone to for instance, in Perth, they've got Optus Stadium, and I'm pretty sure that holds like 70,000. We've got 50,000 Adelaide Stadium, and I'm sure you've got like what's your biggest stadium here?
Probably a core, and I think it does 55.
Core 55. 55,000. You probably get that on one video. Imagine you in the middle of the stadium with a microphone, times that stadium by about 50, and you might be close to what you get in like a week.
It's insane, like the scale, and that's why I love it so much, because there's no roof, there's no limit.
Yep.
And Mr. Beast is doing 1 billion times better than me. Like there's so much room to grow. There's so much room
Definitely.
to grow. He showed me. I saw on his page a Indian creator.
Yep.
That was doing 3 billion
Is that
impressions.
T-Series?
No, some other guy. He was doing like 3 billion impressions for the month, or might even be 10 billion impressions for the month on Instagram alone.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm love what I do, but I know that I'm only at the beginning. Like, I only see myself as at the beginning.
It's crazy. Like, even when we're out with you, like we went, and did some swimming activities, and we went on the jet ski and such, and like the amount of people that come up to you is nuts. Like,
it's crazy.
Yeah, I've hung around with a lot of, pretty big people and like celebrities and stuff, but yours is next level. It's crazy. Like the power of TikTok. Like you get all age demographics,
which is so impressive.
Because obviously, older people, like even like for instance, my mum, who's I think she's like 62, she's like on Instagram Reels.
Yeah.
So she sees your Reels, and like then the younger kids, anywhere from like 10 years and up, are seeing it on TikTok. So when we were at that cliff jump the other day, you all those kids were coming up to you, and it was just it was.
I'm always so grateful as well, and
definitely
I always treat everyone.
You did
the way I'd like to be treated.
You spoke to that group of kids more than you spoke to me that day.
No, those guys were in uni actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Well, there you go.
They would tell me, I was interested in what they were studying.
I say kids because I'm a little older.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah. But yeah, definitely. But no, you have the time, and I really, really respect that. There's been times where I've been in Vegas and I've walked past a celebrity and I've just asked a question, and they're like, nah.
Yeah.
They were really rude. Some. I'm not going to mention names, but like I'm like, whoa. But they would get it so much, like you're still pretty new to this, and I'm sure you're going to remain humble and be very nice, but still.
It's been like that since the Olympics.
There you go.
So
yeah. It's been a long time.
5 years now.
Yeah. Yeah, and this celebrity that I went up to in Vegas was probably, he's only been famous for like 5 or 6 years, so not long. Yeah.
I always just remember that, like, these guys are the ones that watch your stuff. You should be appreciative.
Yep.
You have to be, right?
Definitely.
Like,
no, I really respect that.
It's always crazy too, because we, like, say in this room, it's you, me, Ramon. Like, this is how we make it. And it might go out to, millions.
Yeah, definitely.
But you don't even really think about it.
No, not at all.
You're just doing your job.
Yeah, we're actually talking about that before we started the podcast. Like, originally when we were, because you and I have been on the news, and you've done a lot more than me, but you've done live events as well. I've never done live stream. But like, my
first live stream, I was so nervous.
Oh, I could imagine
I get used to it now, but
yeah,
only because I have this bottom line pressure in my mind that I'm like, even if I completely butcher it, who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no one cares. Like, you know what I mean?
Bad publicity is good publicity.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, there's no such thing.
There's like, I hit only a maximum level of pressure to where I'm like, meh. Even if I mess it up, who cares? It'll be funny.
Exactly right. And I've definitely got over those nerves, I'd like to think, but still, there's some times where I'm like...
My first one was nervous.
Yeah, I could imagine.
And yours?
There was one time, actually, I did the Tesla Cybertruck introduction in Adelaide.
I've seen this on
Channel 9 News.
Yep.
They actually hit me up, and they were like, hey, Kane, we've seen you had like a Tesla Cybertruck in LA for a week. Can you come to the Adelaide introduction one? And I was like, I've actually got one on order. They were like, really?
Do you?
Yes.
When's it coming?
That's the thing. It could never come to Australia because the truck is so wide and different, and it's stainless steel. Could you imagine if that run into?
So have you paid for it?
I put a deposit down of $100.
How much?
Yeah.
Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, it was tiny. But this was a long time ago.
Does that mean you're locked in?
I think it was 2019 or 20, and the orders were only open for like 2-3 months.
Are you locked into buying it?
No, I can cancel it any time. But you'd be stupid to cancel it because there's minimal people in Australia that ordered one. And like right now, they're worth a lot of money for that, just that pre-order.
When is the speculation you'll get it?
Well, that's the thing. It could be a year. It could be 2 years. It could be less. In LA, they're producing them very fast. And across America. But not fast enough for America yet, let alone Europe and Australia.
Wow.
And whether they come here again.
So you were on the news for the truck?
Channel 9, yeah, and there was a crowd of about 50 people, and then Channel 9. So that's probably like where I was like, there's a lot of people looking at me who don't know who I am.
Yeah.
And then they're like, why is he getting interviewed in front of this car? So I had to speak in front of all of those people and the news. And everyone's watching me. They got the camera and the mic, and they're asking me tough questions. Yeah.
It's always even more tricky too. Like, camera's one thing, then you put a crowd behind it, and it becomes another.
For sure. Definitely a live audience, because you're like focused on the camera, but you're looking around and you're seeing people like judge you, giving you that eye contact. Like, who is this guy? Is that number correct that he just said? Like, because they're like, how fast is it? 0 to 100. And I only know like the 0
and you've driven it. Like, you're not claiming to be an expert.
But I only know like the 0 to 60 miles per hour, and it's like 2.6 seconds. And I'm like trying to convert it. I'm like 2.7 seconds, but I could be wrong. Like, it's the same with this like podcast. I'm sure some of the numbers that I've said are not factually correct. Like, of course. It's I am the human Google after all. I know this.
That's it.
No, exactly.
Google's never wrong.
Humans make errors all the time. I've had people pick me up on it so many times. Even when I'm in front of the news crew, they're like, "Hey, you said this," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that was an accident. It should have been this number, whatever." But it happens.
It's so funny. It's all part of the journey, and I love watching your journey, brother. And I'm keen to continue.
Likewise. I'm going to be coming back to Sydney very often. We've done it. We fit a lot in these 2.5 days. A lot.
And we haven't even done half the stuff we can do.
Exactly. You had to cancel a few things because...
I did.
Yeah, exactly. And we're doing this podcast now, and I'm very grateful. It's near Christmas time, so we've got a lot to...
Okay, tomorrow's Christmas Eve, just for context.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
Of filming this. I love the work, though. We don't stop.
Yeah, I only said that because I want to see how fast you get this out. I want to see how fast you work.
We've actually got 3 to post.
I know.
We got a few in the pipeline.
So
Ramon, can you get it done today?
Yeah, so viewers, like, this might take a little while because, yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Peter Dutton one. That's going to be interesting to watch.
That should come out in the next couple of days.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I've seen you guys have been working like really hard on it. So
yeah, we just want to make sure everything's right. We want to do the best for any podcast distribution, but same with any business. There's a lot of like processes and planning that goes behind the scenes.
Oh,
but
for sure.
That's fun too. I like to be busy. I like to be working.
Definitely. 100%.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, brother. And
no, it was really good having you. It was really good being here, I should say.
Thanks for having me on, Kane.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
Now. I'm taking over. Look at me.
Kane runs the podcast.
Now. Yeah.
He's the captain.
No, it's been great, and I've really enjoyed my time here. Really enjoyed my stay, and like your questions have been really good, and hopefully I've answered them correctly.
Thanks, brother. We'll get you back on soon.
Thank you so much.